Just wait for some people to get in here.
I've already started the clock.
Yep, we're good.
Well, good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Rumble Mumble, our debut program here on Facebook Live. We're really looking forward to it. It's going to be a 22-minute show every Thursday night at 7:22. And the reason for the 22, it's the 22nd annual Rumble in Fort Wayne, presented by Jason Dietz Trailer Sales. We look forward to the next 14 weeks as we have a lot of excitement coming your way. We hope that you can join us every Thursday at this time slot as we talk to people who have been part of the Rumble or will be part of the Rumble. So a lot of exciting features coming up. We'll be traveling around. Today, we're at the Dayton Metro Library in Brookville, Ohio. And with me, we have Kyle Dager and Tony Barhorst. Kyle recently formed Grit Motorsports, who we have brought on board as our marketing arm this year. And we're Kyle, a former competitor in the Rumble in Fort Wayne. So one of his first ventures was coming up with this Facebook Live show. Kyle, give us a little bit of a background here about yourself and Grit Motorsports.
Yeah, so you said I was a competitor of the Rumble. That was awfully, positive. I did run the Rumble a few times. Had only about one top 5 finish, but no. So Grit Motorsports Marketing, I started that about 1 or 2 months ago. Started actually with you at the Rumble. So I went to school for sport marketing and management down in Charlotte, North Carolina. I worked on a few different NASCAR teams, actually drove for a development team down there. And I kind of learned a lot about motorsports and marketing and the industry. So I'm excited to kind of start that. And now with the Rumble, obviously it's a pretty special race to me, being in Fort Wayne, being my hometown. So I'm pretty excited to start that and kick it off here with the Rumble Mumble.
All right. Tell us about the Rumble Mumble, the contest that you came up with, and the reaction from our viewers.
Yeah, so that was kind of a funny story. We were sitting around meeting, and we knew we wanted to do the Facebook Live show that we're doing, but we couldn't really figure out a name. We came up with a few, but they weren't very good. So I think you kind of thought it was like, well, if we can't think of anything, why don't we, just let the fans decide? So obviously that's what we did. We had a fan vote.
And overwhelmed, really, with the number of fans that were submitting.
Yeah, we had hundreds of votes. The reach was outstanding. And I think we narrowed it down to 10, and we decided, or the fans decided, to go with the Rumble Mumble by Kurt Brockman.
Right. So the fans, interesting thing about the voting, Tony, we'll be talking to you here shortly, but we have to share this with you. We were very explicit. Say you can vote one time, okay? And we put that in every post. But every day we had one of your Rumble drivers vote again. Good old Munchkin Mike Fedorsik. And so finally Kyle had to get on there. Mike, please read the post. So Mike Fedorsik, if you're out there, we're glad that you read our Facebook page. Just read the fine print. So as we mentioned earlier, the Rumble Mumble is live, up and running. Today we're at Brookville, Ohio. It's the home of Tony Barhorst. And we're pleased to have Tony here, right here with us tonight. As you know, 22 years ago, Tony brought together this event. And we're really excited to hear what it took. Tony, give us some background about the Rumble in Fort Wayne.
Well, it's great to be here and, on the show, the first one ever. And it reminds me of some of the shows, radio shows we used to go on. And especially in Fort Wayne, they have had a show in the past that Paul Ladd from the Northeast Indiana Museum, Auto Racing Museum, used to do there. And so Larry would be on that, and different drivers like Jeff Kaiser and car owners like Rick Doherty would go with me and be on that show. And big shout out to Paul Ladd, who's not with us anymore, but it was always great to be on a show like this. But starting the Rumble, really it took like 2 years to even get one off the ground. And it initiated with my dad is really into racing, and we talk about Eldora Speedway. My dad and I would go to Eldora Speedway. He'd take me along with him, in their late 60s and all through. And we would go to New Bremen Speedway. And so Winchester Speedway, I remember way back when at Winchester. So we're into auto racing, and we're also into promotion. Okay, so we do a music festival, and that's where we kind of got the promotion bug. And then being interested in racing in the mid '90s, my dad made the call to Jack Calabrese. Now, I'd like to be able to ask. My dad passed away, but he had a good run, and but I'd like to be able to ask him, what made him call Jack. But he had Jack's card, and that still was up on the wall of the bulletin board, just even a few weeks ago. We kind of kept some of his notes there. But it took a couple years to find a venue. Okay, so we're thinking about Fort Wayne, but Fort Wayne has the ice hockey and CBA basketball, so I thought that was ruled out. And then looked at other venues, and then Calabrese brought up the idea, and I heard there was a monster truck show and a legend car race on the floor of the newer Expo Center that was built right aside of the old Coliseum where USAC had their races from 55 to 1988. So we had like a 10-year gap of no racing there because of the conflicts on the floor. Anyways, here's what the idea was, though. We had to build a racetrack. We had to bring in concrete barriers. We had to bring in a fence. Just really.
So basically, you just had a floor.
Yeah, we just have a convention center floor, which is a great 108,000 square foot floor. So, but the facility is just fantastic. Many of you have been there, but if you haven't, probably one of the best parts is going around the pit area during the show, during some of the downtime. You can pick and choose, who you want to watch. But it took a couple years to get this thing going. And finally, I even looked like the Pontiac Silverdome. Okay, I was up in Detroit, thought we were going to do something there. Things come and go quickly, ideas. So anyways, we got this idea. Now the thing was, we're going to pull the trigger on building this racetrack on this floor where I had never really seen that done before. So it took me a couple of weeks, and finally some were saying, you're going to do it or not, you're going to do it or not. So I pulled the trigger on it, and my dad was instrumental in help. As they say that, racing has a history of, fathers and sons and fathers and daughters, being helpful in the racing business. And so really, he was vital to the help with Calabrese, and it was really a lot of fun, a lot of hard work, to put it together. But we did go out and bought some concrete barriers, okay? And we bought some of those that were located off of I-75 near Findlay. And, part of the fun is scouring for these things, and then we got to have a fence company. You got to be very careful, what you're doing on that. So I, went around Fort Wayne and scouted out fence companies. So we put it together, and, the fence company, they all did a pretty good job. And there again, as far as racing, it's really a team effort. Anybody will show you that as car owners, a team effort. There's a few that do it on their own. Some do, and some are successful, but more often than not, you got to have a good team. So that's what it's been. And really the Fort Wayne Coliseum people that work there, the facility guy, Brian Christie, the general manager, Randy Brown, they all were into racing. The key is any facility is they were used to the racing from back in the old days.
Right. And I think it was a natural. Fort Wayne, I can remember as a kid, Kyle, I think you were only 1 year old when this came about. So then we're talking ancient history here for you. But I can remember 2 Sundays a month, Bill Lipke would present the midgets indoors at the Fort Wayne hockey rink. And my thrill was always watching the Knuckles family. I'd sit up there by Bobby Knuckles and Jeff and Jerry. Whenever they got introduced, they were clowns, and it was great. And we really look forward to that. So I think it was a natural that you went there. And for those of you that have not been there, we're talking about the Fort Wayne Memorial Coliseum and Expo Center. And it is located on the north side, right off of I-69 on Parnell Avenue. So Kyle, what do you think about this? You were just a baby when this was starting.
Yeah. So I had no idea what was going on, let alone, a race 20 minutes down the street from my house. but I am pretty into like old USAC history and open wheel cars and stuff like that. And that's actually the first race USAC ever had was in the Coliseum.
Right, a historical marker out front indicating that the Fort Wayne Memorial Coliseum was the home of the very first USAC race in 1956.
So yeah, it's obviously a special place to be and a special place to race, and I'm glad I've gotten the opportunity to race there and now be a part on the business side of the event.
Okay, tonight we're here at the Brookville Library with Tony Barhorst, Kyle Dager, and I just want to give a big shout out to Jason Deach. This will be the third year that Jason has come on board as our sponsor, and over 350 trailers on site any day that you go up there in downtown Edgerton, Ohio. And I think Edgerton is one of those towns, don't blink, you'll miss it. But Jason, a former racer, his son also racing go-karts, and he's like all of us, Tony. He loves racing. All right, let's go back through the years of the Rumble. Every year had to be a learning experience, something new. But through the years from 1998 to, 2014, what are some of the high points that you can remember back? Some of the things that you're not really one with a whole lot of emotion. And to get Tony Barhorst excited, it had to be something great. So think back and tell us something.
Well, really, to start out with, we had 100 lap features. That's what they had with USAC. They were 100 lappers. Okay, yeah. That was the number. That was a key number. It seemed like. So the first couple of years, Tony Elliott won, and I want to tell you, really you had to have really some stamina, some endurance. You really had to be strong to be able to run that kind of a race, indoors for that many laps and come out ahead. So Tony Elliott won the first two, and I mean it was exciting. It was exciting to have the midgets back. And it was, we just kind of built from that, and you learn a little bit, about the lap count. We couldn't keep up that 100 lap, it's just hardly anybody, indoors, you don't really see a 100 lap race. And so we cut it back and, we learned as we went. I was pretty green to start out with, we had the promotional angle of it. Jack Calabrese and Rose Calabrese sanctioned it. And it was under the Neymars banner, by the way, the first year. And then things changed quickly, and Jack and Rose had sold Neymars. The second year, I heard it from Johnny Heidenreich at the fairgrounds that Jack was going to sell, that he had heard that, and then, but what we did was we kept on with Jack and really had some good years in Fort Wayne, and we went to other places like Fargo, North Dakota. We could talk about that later. We went to Columbus, Ohio later on after Jack, but we
Hare Arena and
Hare Arena, right? That was
Toledo
and the RCA Dome. Then the RCA.
Oh, that was really an experience. And you brought in sprint cars.
We did, and that'll still be brought up every now and then whenever somebody talks about controversial races that were indoors. But that would have to be, one of the highlights. The crowd that we had at the RCA Dome, was really one of the highlights of my career. As far as promotional wise. Also, we had some sellouts at Fort Wayne right around the mid 2000s, 2008 or 2007. Mm-hmm. And those would probably be the high points. But no, it's a very interesting business. And, we really have some highs and lows to talk about. So I could probably talk all day, but we don't want to.
Yeah, we're moving right along here. About 8 minutes remaining here in our show. It's amazing. 22 minutes. You think, wow, what are we going to talk about for 22 minutes? And it goes fast. Well, Kyle, jump in anytime. If any of our viewers have any questions or comments, feel free to jump in. Go ahead.
Yeah, we have a few people saying hi, and Sean Cluck, Steve Clay, Bob Corson, a lot of people watching.
Steve Clay, cool. Great supporter, and good to see Steve watching us. And by the way, Steve, you asked about a new engine, and I've talked to a couple people on that. I think we're going to be okay. So I'm not going to spill the beans, but we may have a new engine package coming on board in the midgets. Tony, I have a couple of comments I want to make, but first off, you put together this program, whether it was you or Jack, whoever, but it's called midget racing, but you've combined the national midgets, the focus midgets, and the Kenyan midgets. So you have 3 forms of midgets all in one class. Why is that?
Well, because they can be competitive. The national midgets, let's say like the USAC national midgets, those pavement cars were so expensive they didn't want to bring them indoors. We had and this is what makes it interesting. Last time I counted when we had it, there was like 19 different car and engine chassis combinations, in the midgets. And, we got Russ Gamester winning in a car that was built by Grant King in 1977. We got the Munchkin. We had Kenyon car winner with Kyle Hamilton and the Mel and Don Kenyon team. I'd like to be able to mention all the owners because that's one of the more interesting things too. If you come to the Rumble, you can talk to the go-kart owners, the quarter midgets. If you have someone that's interested in racing and real young, you can check this stuff out before you get involved. You can talk to people. And so that's one of the interesting things is all the car owners. I really have my hats off to them because they're the ones that were really making the show.
And it's not only the car owners. Bob Corson put together some statistics for us. And you look at the names that came up just through the quarter midget racing, Justin Haley, Kyle, some of those names that came up, you were like even shocked when you see the people that have raced, like Zeb Wise now,
right,
who is driving the Keith Coons midget and winning everywhere. Started out at the quarter midget show at the Rumble. So, we've been talking about midgets, but the Rumble, and I want to ask you why you came up with the name Rumble, but I think I know why, because from 8 o'clock in the morning till 11 o'clock at night, there's nothing but a rumble in that building because
right,
it's nonstop. Quarter midgets, 5 or 6 classes of quarter midgets, 6 classes of go-karts, winged 600s, non-winged 600s, and the midgets. So it is literally nonstop from kids 4 years old up to, I'm guessing Mike might be our oldest driver right now, Mike Fedorsik.
Yeah, the thought process on that was I was thinking, okay, should it be like the Battle of Fort Wayne? I thought, well, we went back and forth on that a little bit. Then, the Rumble, because of the song, let's get ready to rumble. Okay, that started focusing in on that. Then exactly what you say there, Larry, the reason, with the rumbling of the whole facility, actually. And so that's why the name came about. And it's been that way. And it's really something that lasts.
Okay, we have about 4.5 minutes left. I just want to put in a shameless plug. The Rumble in Fort Wayne 22nd Annual Edition coming up December 27th and 28th at the Veterans Memorial Coliseum in Fort Wayne, Indiana. Tickets are going to go on sale November 11th. And the good news, no raise in ticket pricing. It's been the same, I know, since I bought the series from you, Tony, in 2014. So nothing's changed there. Tickets through Ticketmaster, or you can purchase them there at the Coliseum. And, of course, they are available on race day. Check out our website, www.rumbleinfortwayne.com. And with Kyle on board, maybe we'll keep the fresh look on the website. I get a little bit behind on that. We also have Twitter and Instagram. Kyle, want to jump in?
Yeah, I kind of want to talk about kind of like what you said about having almost 20 different classes between carts and midgets and quarter midgets. Like, how did you wrap your head around it? Like, as a promoter, trying to coordinate with all these different classes and trying to get that together for one weekend.
It is really unbelievable what all happens, and you just have to have good leaders of every division. And there again, nobody does this themselves. Any promoter outdoors or whatever. Earl Baldus didn't do it himself. It just takes a crew and a good crew, and so. And the race directors, starting out Gallup race, had the experience that it took to do the things on the track. And then when Larry Bowes took over as a race director in mid 2000s, and then it was a natural. I don't touch on this that much, but really I decided I do some music promotions. I have a Rumble concert series that's on Facebook, and so I'm into music, kind of back to the music promotions and concentrating on that. So, at 16 years, we had a really great run on it and kind of could use some more energy, and Larry has that. And we're looking forward to the future. It's great to talk about the past, but the future, is now, and we're looking forward to this race. And I'm looking forward to coming up myself to be in the test.
Oh, we're always glad to have you up there. And, I'm going to lean on you and always have questions. And, we're coming off of a pretty strong year. We had a great year last year, nice attendance. Racing It's tough. It's like a dirt track. The surface changes from class to class, hour to hour. It's so dictated by the weather conditions outside. So any driver that you will talk to, like I talked to my boss, Tony Stewart, about it, and he says, you just have to keep one eye on it all the time. And then I talked to Zach Axlin and Jake Shelley in the go-karts. Well, people don't understand, we utilize that whole building. So there are pit areas everywhere. The midgets are in one area. The 600s are back in a closet. The quarter midgets are behind the bleachers. And the poor go-karts, they're in the basement of the old hockey rink back where the midgets actually pitted back when they raced upstairs in the hockey rink. So about a minute and a half to go. Tony, we have to be thankful that you had the courage and to take your dad's idea and bring about the Rumble in Fort Wayne, because it fills a void. It's beautiful outside today, but in December, it could be nasty. And so you want to go to a climate-controlled building, and we're really looking forward to that. So just a few moments to go. I want to remind you that every Thursday night we'll be doing the Rumble Mumble. Thank you, Kurt Brockman, for that. And it'd be 7:22 for 22 minutes. Next Tuesday or Thursday, boy, I got that all messed up. Next Thursday, we're going to be at the Hyatt Place in Fort Wayne. And Larry Joe Schroff, which is one of the, I think he raced there when you first brought the 600s in. So he's going to be our guest next Thursday night. And wrap this up, Kyle.
Yeah, there's just one comment I had to throw in from Bob Corson, and it's kind of about like the prestige of the show. There's 282 drivers that have attempted to make a midget feature, and only 130 qualified. So it's a pretty special show. It's pretty prestigious, and I'm glad to have been a part of it.
Tony, that's got to make you proud to hear those numbers.
It does. It does. It's really, like I said, and really the car owners and drivers come from all different walks of life. It's just so interesting to go.
And there's the beat. So my name's Larry Boas. On behalf of Kyle Dager and Tony Barhorst, we thank you for joining the Rumble Mumble, and we look forward to seeing you next Thursday. If you can't see us next Thursday, we'll see you December 27th and 28th.